Welcome, everybody. Everybody, the Big Easy Collectibles today is live and in Technicolor, just like I always say, if you will. Um, we are actually here in the GXW Classic Studios today live. We've got all kinds of goodies right here. But before we get into all the goodies that we got, I want to do a little recap on stuff. We're going to do a Big Easy wrestling review, if you will, of everything that's going on in the business today. Number one, I think we want to talk about Monday Night Raw. I want to talk about the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. I think he has done an incredible job since having that title. He has beaten a lot of the top talents, and I know they just did the match for the number one contender this past Monday night. That was won by Damian Priest. Damian Priest is supposed to get a title match this Monday, I believe. But I don't think Damian Priest could be the man to unseat Gunther. I think Gunther is going to have a long title reign. He has been champion in the WWE for a long time, whether it be the UK champ, the Intercontinental champ, or now the World Heavyweight champion. And I don't foresee him dropping that title anytime soon. There's several people that I would like to see him wrestle that I'm sure in the future that there will be matches with. I'd love to see him against Seth Rollins again in a rematch for the World Heavyweight title. I would love to see him against Cody Rhodes one more time. The match that they had was incredible. And you did happen to see, I don't want to say a little soft spot on Gunther this week, but he did pay credit to Cody for actually getting the win over in Saudi Arabia, and that was very classy of him. I think Gunther's an incredible champion. He's a throwback to the old school days, and I think he's going to be the big man in the business for a lot of years to come. Talk about the ladies tag team champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They are. I don't believe that they are the best ladies tag team in the WWE right now. I think they are a tag team that the fans want to get behind, the fans want to support, and the fans want to see them where they're at. But I think there's a lot of other ladies that are gonna that are really ready to take them tag titles away from them. And I think it's going to happen very soon. Now, my question is going to be for all you folks at home, when it happens, which one going to stick a knife in the other one's back? Because you know it's coming. Everybody keeps talking about Bianca Belair is going to stab Jade Cargill in the back. But could it be the other way around? You know, Bianca's been incredibly popular up there all this time. Now Jade Cargill's coming in and she wants everything handed to her. But you got to work for what you get. And she's put the effort in there, no question about it. And they are a fine tag team, but I don't think they're the best ladies tag team up there. And it's going to show here very shortly. Then they're going to end up feuding with each other, I believe. Talk about the hottest thing on Monday Night Raw right now. We're going to talk about Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. Dirty Dom, Daddy Dom, if you will. And right now, Liv Morgan got an interesting little thing going on with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany's in the catbird seat, if you will, because she got the money in the bank. She got Tiffy time in the bank going with her everywhere she goes. And when she goes to cash in, she made the big question. When I cash in and beat you, Liv, does that mean I get Daddy Dom too? Daddy Dom looked interested in it, but Liv, she's like, Liv was like, I don't think so. Dom is my man. It's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out, and just to see who Tiffany does cash in on, whether she cashes in on her partner Nia Jax or whether she cashes in on Liv Morgan. Who knows? Only Tiffany knows what she's gonna do. She's very smart. She's very young in the business, but she's very smart in the business. She's kind of an old school throwback a little bit too. She's got all the tools necessary. She's gonna be a big star for years and years to come. Look forward to watching her and everybody else that's on Monday Night Raw right now. Now let's talk about SmackDown a little bit. I want to talk about Cody Rhodes, the undisputed champion. And I know he's the big talk of the WWE right now. And make no mistake about it, I'm a big Cody fan. But I don't think Cody has been as interesting since he won the title as he was chasing the title. I think he's got a lot of big programs coming up, waiting to see him and The Rock, because you know there's going to be a showdown between the two of them coming back up. The Rock will be back at some point. We all know this. I expect The Rock to have something to do at Survivor Series coming up. Don't know just what it's going to be. Nobody knows. But I think The Rock's going to roll up in there and something's going to happen. It's going to set up The Rock and Cody for maybe the Royal Rumble. Maybe the Royal Rumble. Maybe it'll be a little bit further down the road. Thinking that we're looking at WrestleMania, The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And talking about Roman Reigns and the bloodline, that's a hot storyline right now. You're bringing the old school bloodline back to face the new school bloodline at Survivor Series. This is going to be hot. It's going to draw some people in to watch. It's going to be exciting, if you will. So all you fine folks at home need to make sure you catch that. It's going to be good. SmackDown, I think, is the hottest wrestling program on television these days. Wrestling is probably hotter than it's been in a lot of years right now, but I think SmackDown is the hottest thing going. The stars that we have on there, it's just been an incredible program. And I know Bill Goldberg is set to make his return. I believe he's going to make his return for the Raw brand. Nobody really knows who he's going to face in his retirement match. They haven't said yet. There's a lot of speculation to it, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think his last match should have been his last match. I don't think he should be coming back. I don't think he's going to look very good in the ring, but time will tell. We will see. Let's move on and talk a little bit about AEW. AEW, and before we get started talking about AEW, I got to give a shout out to my main man, the former AEW World Heavyweight Champion and former GXW star, if you will, Swerve Strickland, baby. He's the hottest thing in AEW right now still. He may not have the title, but he is the best thing going in AEW right now, Daddy. They've got a lot of good stuff happening over there. You got the Hurt Business back in business over there, Shelton Benjamin. You know, I can't say enough about Shelton Benjamin. Everybody knows about his amateur background. Everybody knows what he did when he worked for the WWE. He was multi-time tag team champion. He's a legitimate guy. Him and Bobby Lashley both. Bobby Lashley, I think, could just rip somebody apart almost by just looking at him. Bobby Lashley is a bad man, and the two of them together are an incredible tag team. It should be the tag team champions very soon. It should be the tag champs for a long time. Now, what I'm waiting to see is who they're going to add as a third member to that group to go along with them and MVP. I don't think you're going to see MVP in the ring. He's just going to be like more of a manager role like he was in the WWE with them. But I look for Powerhouse Hobbs to maybe pop up in that group right there. I think it would be a great addition to him. It would give him a big rub, and it would really set that product off. And they could do like a Freebird rule where any two of the three could defend the tag team titles. I think it would be a great storyline right there for him. Mercedes Moné, everybody is. She is more impressed with herself than I think everybody else is. I don't see the big deal about her. Didn't see the big deal about her when she was in the WWF. I felt like everybody carried her to a good match. If you had to put her out there in front of everybody and depend on her to put the match together, I don't think she's got the talent or the skill to do it. I was never a big fan of hers. But they're really giving her a big push in AEW. They put Camille Brickhouse with her. I'm not a big fan of that. I think Camille should be somebody that gets pushed on her own. But I understand the story because she needs to have a bodyguard. She needs to have somebody to protect her. And that's exactly what Camille is going to do. And Camille's a beast. She was a beast when she was with the NWA. She was one of the longest reigning NWA women's champions in a lot of years, especially since they brought the title back. And she carried the belt and was a great representative for the NWA. I was really sorry to see her leave. Like I said, right now, professional wrestling is probably hotter than it has been in a lot of years. The WWE is putting out great products. AEW is putting out great stuff. NXT, man, they just announced this week that they're getting ready to have a tournament in NXT for the ladies' title. It's going to be awesome. On SmackDown, they announced that they're going to have a tournament for the new Ladies United States champion. That's going to bring a lot of excitement to the women's division on SmackDown. Not that there's not already enough excitement to it. it's a great the product that the women are putting out are better than ever. Um, it's just amazing to see how far the women have came in this great sport since when I was a kid to what they're doing now. And women are main eventing everywhere. The main event in WrestleMania, main event pay-per-views. You got pay-per-views with nothing but the ladies on there. And it's not like the old days where they were just out there to look pretty and be sharp. These ladies can wrestle and they can work and they can carry the load. They carry the load better than some of the men can in some cases. Um, the WWE is doing a great job. I think Triple H has done a great job since he's been the head of the company, and he knows who to market, he knows who to put over. I think he's just doing a phenomenal job. Um, what I want all you fine folks at home to do in YouTube land for me, if you would, put some stuff in the comments. Tell me who your favorite wrestler is today, who your favorite old school wrestler is. If you agree with the opinions that I've given out today, if you think the Big Easy is full of crap, Big Easy just full of hot air and likes to talk, which is positive. There's a little truth to that. Everybody knows me, knows I like to talk and I love to talk about pro wrestling. But yeah, leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about what we said here today. Let us know who your favorite wrestler is. We'd love to hear, from all you fine folks at home. To let us know just what y'all think about our product, not just the WWE product, but Big Easy Collectibles. Let us know what you think about Big Easy Collectibles. Tell me what you think about the Big Easy, baby. Let me know what we can do to make this a better program for you folks. So enough of me talking about everything. Let's get into what all you fine folks here came to want to see today. We're going to show my collectibles. All right, we're going to start off right here with one of the newer Legends figures by Mattel. This is a throwback to the old Hasbros. This right here is the U.S. Lex Express, Lex Luger right here. This Lex Luger, they did a huge campaign with Lex Luger to put him into the title hunt for the WWF title against Yokozuna at SummerSlam. They did the bus up. They did the big bus tour with Lex Luger. That was phenomenally successful. Every stop that they made, people just came out and they swarmed and swarmed and swarmed Lex Luger. He was going to be the great American hope to bring the title back home. When they had the match, Lex won the match, but it was a DQ finish. He did not get the title, but they shot off all the balloons and they celebrated. You would have thought that he had won the world championship, the WWF title that night, but just wasn't to be. That was a title that always eluded Lex, although he was a WCW champion several times. He was fantastic at what he did in the ring. Wasn't the best technical wrestler that you were going to find, but he had a body and he looked like $1 million, and he knew how to get from point A to point B to point Z. This right here, Lex Luger, is $25 today here at the Big Easy Collectibles. $25 for a huge piece of Lex Luger history right here. You don't see a whole lot of these. This was in a set that you had to order directly from Mattel with 3 other figures. But it's a good piece to have, and if there's any Lex Luger fans out there, this is a must-have for your collection right here today on the Big Easy Collectibles. Our next set right here is going to be a set of Funko Pops right here. We got 2 of them together. Of the man, one of my favorites of all time right here is Mick Foley. I love Cactus Jack, and Dude Love was my favorite gimmick that Mick Foley did. He did the 3 Faces of Fear along with Mankind. But Dude Love, have mercy, baby, was by far my favorite. Got a chance to spend some time with Mick Foley one day, thanks to my wife. She bought us tickets to the meet and greet at the Diamond. Got to spend about 30 minutes with Mick Foley with nobody else there with us, just he and I, cutting promos and talking about the business, talking about, all the stuff that he had done. We talked about him and The Undertaker, talked about the choke slam he took through the cage. He was a super phenomenal guy. Couldn't say enough about Mick Foley. I'm a huge, huge fan of his. He was one that he didn't look the part at times, but Mick could go. You wouldn't think that he could work for an hour if he needed to, but if he needed to go an hour, he was just like Dusty. Dusty didn't look like he could wrestle for an hour, but Dusty could wrestle for an hour and go. and make anybody look good. And Mick Foley had that same ability. On this right here, we've got Dude Love and we've got Cactus Jack. These right here, the Cactus Jack was a GameStop exclusive. The Dude Love, this one actually happened to come from GameStop because they got them both at the same time. But they could be yours today for $75. These are both vaulted figures. They're not making them anymore. You're not going to find them. $75 for a pair of Mick Foley figures. We got Cactus Jack and we got Dude Love. Next up for sale right here, there is a new figure company called Power Town. They are doing all kinds of different lines. Right here, we've got Bruiser Brody. This is from the Series 1 that they did right here. This is one of the most articulate figures that I've ever seen. Comes with the PWF Tag Team title. His came with that, and Stan Hansen's came with that title as well. The way that they produce these, I think, is just awesome looking. They're very articulate. You can pop the box open to see the figure inside of it, and then you've got the picture of him with the name and everything on there. Powertown wrestling figures are becoming a huge deal in the wrestling business, in the wrestling collectible business right now. I know they've had some shipping issues here lately. There's a big set of Remcos that they've done. They've had a little bit of delays with, but I guess when you're putting out a product that's as great as this, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to make it perfect. And when these products come out, they are outstanding looking. The detail in the figures, the championship belts that come with them, they have all been amazing. Right here, you can see the back of this right here, and it shows you everybody else that was in the first series. That Magnum TA figure is sweet. And then this is what the Bruiser figure looks like with the belt and everything. He's got his vest on. Bruiser Brody was the man back in the early 80s. The Undertaker's told some cool stories about working with Bruiser Brody. That right there, we are asking $80 on Bruiser Brody today, right here from Powertown Wrestling Figures. $80. That's on their Series 1. That was the very first set that they produced. And they produced a good line. Series 2 has been exciting to see when they did the release of the figures. They haven't come out yet, but they took pre-orders for them, and all the pictures that they had of what the pre-orders were. They've got Wahoo McDaniels in there. That's going to be a must-have for any fan right there. If you're a fan of the old Mid-Atlantic area like I am, Wahoo McDaniels is a must-have for you to go along with the Magnum TA from Series 1. You know, Wahoo was the one to put the U.S. title on Magnum TA and helped to set the table for Magnum in the Mid-Atlantic area. Right here, our next piece. Woo, Daddy. This is one of the Big Easy's Mid-Atlantic ring-used canvas collectibles right here, Daddy. This right here, there's an 8x10 autograph picture of the man himself, the greatest NWA World Heavyweight Champion of all time, and my favorite wrestler as a kid, the Nature Boy. Woo, Daddy! Ric Flair. He was the baddest thing. I never will forget the first time I seen Ric Flair on television. He was out there in his big robe with that red United States heavyweight belt, and was the coolest thing I had ever seen. I wanted to be nothing but like Ric Flair. That is what my goal was when I was a kid, to be Ric Flair. I remember running around in a bathrobe with my homemade belts and stuff, woo, and all over the place. This particular piece right here is an autographed 8x10 in his famous black butterfly robe that he wore to the ring the night that he won the WWF title in the Royal Rumble in 1992. He outlasted 28 other men to win that championship, eliminating Hulk Hogan at the end to win the title. Actually eliminated Sid Justice, but we're going to say Hulk Hogan because I don't like Hulk Hogan. This right here happens to be JSA certified. It comes with two cards. The first card is a WCW card of him wearing that belt with Arn Anderson. You know, they were part of the Four Horsemen, the greatest group that's ever been in professional wrestling. Then you've got this right here, which was the opening card in the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling card sets that were done by Wonderama. This right here, we are asking $300 on this JSA certified piece, as well as, you know, on the back of it is it's backed with a piece of canvas from here at the Richmond Coliseum that Ric Flair actually wrestled on. There's some blood stains on this canvas. Could be Rick's blood on there. Wouldn't surprise me. Could be him or Dusty's. I mean, they bled all over the place, 7 nights a week. So it could belong to any of them through that time frame. But this right here, we are asking $300 for. All right, this piece right here. This piece came out in 1996. This is the Ultimate Dragon. He was a big star. He had been in Mexico, and it was made a big star in Mexico. That's where this figure came from, the CMLL series. Then he came into WCW. He had just about every cruiserweight belt that you could have when he came in. It was awesome to watch him come to the ring with all those titles. And I happened to watch him and Dean Malenko wrestle each other at the Norfolk Scope in one of the most incredible matches that I'd ever seen. This was a pretty rare figure right here. I didn't see a lot of this distributed in the United States. This was distributed mostly in Mexico, I believe. When you did see him in the United States, the only one that you really found a lot of was Vampiro. I've got this probably about 20 years, about maybe 17, 18 years ago. I got it from another dealer, and it was an awesome piece. I was a big fan of his, got to meet him one time in Norfolk, got a book signed by him, wish I'd had the figure with me and got the figure signed too. Had no idea that I'd have the opportunity to get to meet him that night. But this is a cool piece. It's a rare piece of the Ultimate Dragon. We're asking $125 for the Ultimate Dragon here today. $125, and you can have one of the coolest and rarest collectibles in wrestling today. All right. Then we're going to come over here. We showed Lex Luger earlier in the retro figures. These are the old retros from Hasbro. They were done up like the old Hasbro figures in the 90s were. These are made by Mattel, and they're a throwback to those figures. This box set right here happens to be a throwback to the very first WrestleMania. You've got 4 different figures in this box. You have Mr. T, and I pity the fool that don't like Mr. T, Daddy. I pity the fool that don't want this set with Mr. T. We got Mean, woo, by God, Gene, Daddy. Gene Oakland right here. He was the voice for many years of the WWF. Gene Oakland, he pretty much, if there was an interview being done, he was always the one right there. And if you knew you were getting the interview with Gene Oakland, you had made it and that you were a star in the WWF, that you were in for a big push because Gene Oakland was their number one guy. Right here, you got one of the greatest guys of all time, one of the greatest professional wrestlers ever. Hot Rod, Daddy, Roddy Piper. Piper was one that he never won the WWF title, but Roddy Piper didn't need the WWF title. The WWF belt actually could have used Roddy Piper. Back during the days when Hulk Hogan had it, Hulk had it way too long, and it should have switched hands a couple of times, and Hot Rod should have had a run with that belt. But he was already a little bit more over than what Vince McMahon liked to have him over. He was a little bit more popular than what Vince wanted him to be because he wanted Hogan to be his big cash cow. But, Hogan wouldn't have had nothing if he hadn't had Roddy Piper to fight with. They did the big match on MTV. The War settled the score. That helped to set up the very first WrestleMania. And here, this last figure in the box is Roddy Piper's hitchman, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. That's his ace in the hole, if you will. I had an ace in the hole at one time. His name was Peter Spade. He was my ace in the hole. He was my ace, and he did just as good for me as Bob Orton did for Roddy Piper. Ace was Piper's man, and Ace was my man. Bob Orton Jr., he was phenomenal in the wrestling business, wrestled in all the territories back in the day. He is the son of Bob Orton Sr., who was a huge star back in the 60s. And he is the father of one of the biggest names in professional wrestling in the last 20 years, the legend killer himself, Daddy, Randy Orton. This is the man. Randy Orton came from his loins, if you will, Daddy. He's the one that produced him. And Randy Orton has been a huge, huge star. But Bob was actually one of my favorites when I was a kid. I remember him wrestling in the Mid-Atlantic area. He and Don Cornotto were the NWA World Tag Team Champions together. I want to say that he might have had the NWA television title at one time, briefly, very briefly. He was champion in Florida. He was champion all over the place. Bob was he was very talented. He was a huge star everywhere. He was a big star for the Poffos as well. He'd been everywhere, done everything. By the time he hit the WWF, it was just icing on the cake for him at this point. All right, folks. Right now we are actually coming to our main event, if you will. This is the big piece of the day. This is the coup de grace, if you will. This is one of my favorite pieces that I've had in my collection. And all these Mid-Atlantic ring used canvas collectibles are one of ones. You'll never find another one anyplace else. They're exclusive to Big Easy Collectibles. This right here was one of my biggest heroes growing up. This is a ringside canvas collectible of Mr. Wahoo McDaniels, Daddy. Wahoo was a bad man. He was one of the most popular wrestlers in the sport everywhere he went, whether it was the Mid-Atlantic area, whether it was Florida, whether it was Georgia, whether it was Japan. Wahoo did some stints in Japan, did some stints for the AWA for Vern Gagne. Wahoo he was all over the place. Wahoo didn't stay in one area too long. He didn't get stale. He worked everywhere. And I got news for you. If you knew that you were getting ready to work a program with Wahoo McDaniels, you knew, number one, you better be tough. And number two, you better be prepared to have your bank account increase because you will make money working with Wahoo McDaniels. This piece right here happens to be an 8x10 color picture of Wahoo McDaniels from the 70s when Wahoo was the Mid-Atlantic heavyweight champion. This was the second Mid-Atlantic title belt that they used. Wahoo, he beat Ric Flair for that title, lost the belt to Greg Valentine in a huge match on television where that set up the stage for a long-running feud between Wahoo McDaniels and Greg Valentine. They feuded for the Mid-Atlantic title, and years later they feuded for the United States title, with Valentine winning the title from Wahoo both times, if you will. But this right here has got one of the few wrestling cards that's actually out there, Wahoo McDaniels, the 85 All-Star cards. And then we've got the card over here with Wahoo with his headdress right there. And most important thing we got on this is we've got a cut autograph. Autographs of Wahoo McDaniels are hard to find now. You know, Wahoo passed away before everybody started doing the big reunion shows and stuff. So finding autograph stuff of Wahoo McDaniels is very scarce. I've got an 8x10 at home, actually, that Wahoo signed and gave to my wife to give to me when we got home on a show that I did with him, which I was so excited about. And I've got it back on a piece of canvas, and it's not something that's ever going to be sold. That's going to stay a part of the Big Easy's collection. It's not coming to Big Easy Collectibles. But we do have this one right here, Daddy. This is probably one of the best pieces that we've ever had. I'm so excited about this. We're asking $400 for an autographed Wahoo McDaniels canvas ring used canvas collection autographed picture today. Like I said, this any Wahoo McDaniels fan, if you don't have something signed, this is a cool piece to have that's autographed. Wahoo, like I said, he was the man back in the day. I don't have to tell most of you folks at home because y'all know y'all are old school just like the Big Easy is. But this is our final piece of the day. We're asking $400 for Wahoo McDaniels. I want to thank each and every one of you folks for tuning in today to watch the very first live edition of the Big Easy Collectibles and to check out, the Big Easy's review of us talking about some of the latest things in professional wrestling today. I was excited talking about that. I hadn't talked about the WWE in a long time because they hadn't put nothing out that I really enjoyed. But the product that they've had out over the last year or so, going back to the original Bloodline story on SmackDown, it's been really exciting watching them build Cody for the title. Now I'm excited to see what they're going to do for Cody for the future to reignite him, to make him hotter. Whether it's going to be a program with The Rock. I know he's getting ready to do some stuff probably with Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens got a whipping coming to him after what he did to him and to Randy Orton Friday night. The power driver that he put on Randy Orton was just unnecessary. He did not have to do that. But he's going to get payback for that. I'm sure Randy going to take care of that. Everybody knows Randy can fend for himself. But I want to thank you all for tuning in to us. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. Also, make sure you check out some of our previous episodes. We're very proud of the previous 6 episodes that we had up. A lot of folks have done already looked at them. I want you good folks out there that if you've missed it, this is your first time, go back and check us out. Check out everything that we've done. I want to go ahead and say thank you to RC Creative for making all of this happen. GXW Classics. I want to thank old Dave McLeod for actually helping to originate GXW Wrestling. And hopefully we're going to have so much more stuff in the future. Big Easy Collectibles is growing and growing, and I want all you fine folks to help make it grow even more. Till next time, folks, this is the Big Easy saying what the Big Easy wants, the Big Easy gets, and I want all you fine folks to like and subscribe, Daddy. Go take care of it. How was it?